Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I think I may or may not be live on Twitter right now because Twitter's having trouble. So there may not be Twitter people on today. We'll see. Maybe I'll post this later on Twitter or something. So if you're watching on Twitter, you're not watching on Twitter. So what are you going to do? I guess that's how that works tonight. Any case, I'm glad you people who are not on Twitter are with me this evening. So happy to have you here. I wanted to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while. And the issue is it's been a long time with people being concerned or worried about kind of what's happening in America because Trump is always saying something, saying this, saying that, saying this, saying that, all those things. Today, I thought I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about for a little bit, and that is America in general. There are a lot of people who are saying maybe America's in trouble, America's failing, but not just that. Why in the world would people be okay with what Trump is doing? Trump is shaking things up like there's no tomorrow. Why would people be okay with it? Why are they accepting it? Well, Larry, not everyone's okay with it. Not everyone's okay with it. That's accurate. Not everyone is. But the majority of people clearly are. They're either supporting it or the opposite, saying nothing. Which saying nothing means you're okay with it. You're letting it go, right? You're going, let's see what happens. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to let this go. And that's happening a lot right now. Why? Is it because America has been failing for so long? If that's true, why are there so many people who keep saying, Larry, you don't understand, what Trump's doing is terrible. It's hurting us out here. It's hurting us out there. This is what Fareed Zakaria said this weekend. This is what actually spurred this, because he was talking about Trump's new policies and how it's affecting Europe and the rest of the world and how all this was good for us and important for us. And listen to what he has to say.
Meanwhile, Washington declared a tariff war on its neighbors and closest trading partners, Canada and Mexico, and demanded that Denmark sell it Greenland and Panama hand over the Panama Canal. It has moved to withdraw from the World Health Organization, which the U.S. helped found. It has tried to shutter most of its foreign aid programs to the world's poor, reversing a tradition of generosity that dates back to World War I.
Now, he's right on all the things he just said. This is accurate. Usually, generally speaking, Fareed, which is why I often will watch him, what he's saying is usually accurate. Not always, but it is usually accurate. His answers aren't always right answers. But when he says this is a problem, he's usually correct. And he was here too. This is an accurate statement. So why would Americans be okay getting rid of all this generosity? Why would Americans be okay ending this aid and soft power and things like that? There's arguments saying that soft power is very important and we should be generous, blah, blah. Our GDP has been growing, all those things. Accurate statements. But here's the problem. Americans aren't happy. We aren't happy. We aren't getting it all. We're not getting what we want. And that's why Americans are like, our system may be working for others. It ain't working for us. And you might go, but Larry, Trump's ideas are bad. Okay, what was the answers before him? The answer before him was what the establishment guys like Fareed keep saying.
Its tariffs are clear violations of trade rules that Washington itself created and championed for decades.
For decades. And those trade rules that Washington championed for decades, again, he's correct in what he's saying. Yes, gutted the middle class, gutted what is now known as the Rust Belt, gutted our manufacturing. Ross Perot said in the 90s, you're going to see a large sucking sound, all the jobs going to Mexico. Yes. So again, he is correct. We did champion them as a country, as a government for decades, and it wrecked us. It wrecked us.
Decades. These remarkable turnarounds are being noticed around the world
Yep.
and will result in a revolution in foreign policy everywhere.
Now, again, he's not wrong. It will. You're going to see it happening everywhere. Yes. But why aren't Americans fighting it? Well, let's be forward. If I had been writing you a check, Shelley, every year for 50 years, and Michael writing you a check for 20 years, and Joel writing you a check for 15 years, every month you getting a check from me every month, and I go, I'm not giving you a check no more. You'd be pissed too. Wait a minute, Larry, I've been getting my check for years. How come you not send me a check no more? Because I'm broke. I can't afford to send you a check anymore. You're like, oh, how dare you? You're going to become Greta Thunberg. How dare you? You're going to become Greta Thunberg. How dare you, Larry? You've been sending me a check for all these years. You better keep sending me that check. And I'm like, I can't afford it anymore. That's what's actually happening. And he's not wrong. People are unhappy about this. And I get it. You would be unhappy too if you were accustomed to my check coming to you every single month for years on end. And I go, I'm not sending that check anymore. You're like, but wait, I have set my lifestyle up to take this check. I have bills that I now pay with your check. So Larry, please don't stop the check. Now I'm pissed off. And you might go, well, Larry, they have no right to be pissed off. Doesn't mean they're not pissed off. Again, not saying you're wrong, but does it mean that they're not pissed off? And this is what's happening. This is correct.
Friedrich Merz, the man who is likely to become Germany's next chancellor, said recently, my absolute priority will be to strengthen Europe as quickly as possible so that step by step, we can really achieve independence from the USA.
Now, that's a part that's important. This is the probably next chancellor. It's not official yet, but the odds are high. He will be the next chancellor of Germany. Now, with that in mind, he's saying we have to achieve independence step by step, which means he's admitting openly that Europe is dependent upon America. This is public, right? He's publicly saying it. Europe is dependent upon America. Now, back in the day, when America was the only people making stuff back in the 60s, back in the 50s and 60s, where America was the only people making stuff because Europe and Asia was bombed out. So, of course, we're the monopoly then. That's why people think the golden age of America was the 50s, because we were a monopoly across the world. We made stuff, you bought it. Why? Because we made it. All of a sudden now, that's not true. 70s and 80s, things begin to change. 90s, they just go to hell. But we're still paying like it's the 50s. We're still paying like it's the 60s. And they're like, yeah, we like it. Keep coming. Remember, Germany now was something like 1 or 2% of their GDP is being spent on defense. Why bother? I got America. I don't got to pay for my defense. I got America paying for that. That check's coming every single year. Well, all of a sudden, America's like, I'm paying for that. You got a problem.
I never thought.
Again, I'm not mad at him. There's no anger here. I'm not mad at him. Again, if you guys want to just send me a check every month for X dollars to pay my bills, I'm not going to be mad at you. Right? He's not. I get it.
I would have to say something like this, but after Donald Trump's statements, it is clear that the Americans, at least this part of the Americans, this administration, are largely indifferent to the fate of Europe.
Think about that. He's admitting that he's saying what we would have thought was the quiet part right out loud.
Germany stood at the center of the security system the US built after World War II.
Accurate.
For that country to start shaking is a seismic shift.
Yes.
Merz has even raised the idea of France and Britain extending their nuclear umbrella to.
Think about that. France and England both have nuclear weapons. France borders Germany and has not extended a nuclear shield over to Germany. Neither has Britain. Why? Because we did. Because we did. Well, don't bother paying your rent if I'm going to pay your rent for you. Right? Yeah. Shannon says, we need proof. Start sending me a check, Larry. Yeah, if I'm going to pay your rent every month, well, why should you pay it? I'm paying it. You don't got to pay your rent. I'm paying it. That's what's been happening. And again, was it the right answer in the 50s and 60s? Maybe. Maybe it was. Is there some value to it even now? Of course there is. There's value to it. Fried's not wrong in what he's saying. The question is, what do Americans believe and feel is the value compared to what Americans are getting? That's the worry and concern. And if you go, Larry, but we're gonna lose a lot. You're right. Again, he's not wrong with what he's saying. But the question is, what about Americans?
Germany, because he's no longer convinced that the US would defend his country. That American promise was the essence of NATO. But
yes,
no one,
which is why NATO should have gone away a long time ago.
in Europe
Correct.
knows if Trump would actually honor it. People in Taiwan have watched nervously as the Trump administration has turned on Ukraine. And rather than
Yes.
offering support against the predatory intentions of Taiwan's bullying neighbor, Trump has berated Taiwan for not spending enough on its own defense.
Yep.
Many on the island now worry that Trump might make a deal with Beijing
Yes.
that leaves them abandoned, like Ukraine.
Now, you might say, Larry, we shouldn't do a deal with China. Or, Larry, we shouldn't do a deal with Russia. The problem with that is if we do that, and again, I don't want to take away anything Fareed's saying. Again, what he's saying is real. It's true. The issue here is, do Americans care more about security of Taiwan or Ukraine or the righteousness of China or Russia compared to their own daily issues? And the problem is the establishment has lost touch with the average American completely. And the establishment, if you watch any of the shows, is all about, we can't let Russia get away with it. We can't let China get away with it. I can't pay my bills. Why would I care? Not just that, right? Hold on. Not just that. Let me do something that's even more important. I'm going to show a couple pieces that matter. This here's the piece that I bring up constantly. That is the biggest issue constantly. And this is, hold on. Let me show you this piece here. This one, is this the one? No. Is this the one? No. There it is. Okay, got it now. There it is. Okay, that's the one I want to show. Here, this is the Gini coefficient in the OECD countries, which means the idea of what is the idea of the wealth gap. Basically, it's the wealth gap. The wealth gap. The lowest wealth gap, if you look down here, is actually in countries like Slovakia, Slovenia, Poland, Iceland, Czechia, which is the Czech Republic, Belgium, Finland, Denmark, all these, right? These countries are all under our umbrella. They're all in NATO. They don't. Most of them don't spend much money on defense. Some do, but most don't. And places like Norway, which is doing very well, has a sovereign fund, right? And where are we? We are way up here. We up here by Bulgaria and Turkey. We do not have a great wealth gap. Our wealth gap is bad. And they may go, well, Larry, why do we care about that? Because here's the problem. They all have a great wealth gap because we've been protecting them forever. That's the issue. We have been protecting them for a very long time. And the longer we protect them, the better off they are. And again, if I'm in America and my wealth gap is tiny and I'm doing well and I'm paying my rent and I'm paying my bills, well, I don't mind so much if I got to throw some money over into Europe or into, I don't mind as much because I'm doing okay. But what happens when I'm not doing okay? I go, Larry, we're doing fine. Here's what I'm talking. Larry, you understand our GDP is higher than ever and the employment rate is low. None of those things matter. I don't mean to be cruel. I'm being forward. Why does GNP and GDP not matter? Because GDP includes government spending. You want GDP to go up? Spend more money. We're $37 trillion in debt. That's why our GDP is so big. I'm not making that up. Do your own homework. That's true. In fact, tomorrow night, by the way, I'm going to have an economist on tomorrow night. So you can do it if you want to. So yes, I'm going to have an economist on tomorrow night. We can talk about that if you want to. But yes, without question, that's actually a thing we have to worry about here. Right? Our GDP goes up. So what? If our wealth gap continues to grow, who cares? It doesn't matter anymore. Right? It's irrelevant because our wealth gap's growing, which means people are in trouble. We have more debt than we've had in a long time. Consumer debt's at an all-time high. People are going to debt, heavy debt. And unemployment isn't bad because people are checking out. Last numbers I saw was over 8 million young men have checked out. Last thing I saw from news said 6.8 million. Whatever that number is, it's still too high. If it's 6 million, 7 million, 8, I don't care. Checking out. Well, those people don't count in unemployment. And when you count underemployment, people who have massive degrees and then all of a sudden somehow have to work as a barista at Starbucks, it's even worse. Underemployment is at least 25%, if not higher. I think there's some official like 9 or 10%, but it's at least 25%. People who are underemployed. So underemployment and unemployment is huge. The workforce participation rate in America is the lowest it's been since like, I don't know when. I don't know, since they've been covering it. It's like the lowest it's been ever. Since they've been paying attention to it. So people aren't even going into the workforce anymore. They're just quitting. They're just quitting. Over 60 million people in America get a check from the government. In New York State, and it's getting in other states, over half of the people on Medicaid, Medicare. Over half. We are not doing well financially. We just aren't, right? We're not doing well financially. I go, well, Larry, it isn't only about the money. You are correct. It is not only about the money. You're right. It'd be nice if it was just, but it's not only about the money. It's also about things like happiness. And I bring it up all the time. People need to be happy. I completely agree. If we were happy, we'd be okay too. But we're not happy. How do I know? Here's the happiness index per company, OECD. Again, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, they're up in the high. Netherlands, Norway, all the countries we're supporting are all good. Where's USA? Number 20. 20. We're not number 1. 19 countries we're supporting are ahead of us in happiness. Think about that. 19 are ahead of us in happiness. That's not a good thing. Of course, people are unhappy. Of course, people are bothered. Of course they are. Well, Larry, is it just about happiness? What things like family and community? Oh, okay. I just told you 7 or 8 million men have checked out. They don't want a family. They don't want a girlfriend. They don't want a wife. They don't want a job. They don't want a career. They want nothing. They want nothing. They want to stay at home, sit in front of a screen, and either work in the black market, or they want to, not work at all, or whatever, or just do gig work here or there. That's it. And I go, that's just men. Okay, well then that's 8 million men that are not available for women to have. Women go, I can't find a man. Well, because 8 million checked out. There's not enough for you. There's just not enough men for you. 8 million checked out. Of course you can't find a man. Of course you can't. You just lost 8 million of them. So yeah, of course. But I'm not even done. You look at things like single family house, single parent households. Of all kids in the household, almost 1/3 are single parent now. Let me say it again. Of all households with kids of 18 years or under in the household, almost 1/3 are single parent. Are we happy? The average marriage in America lasts 8 years. 8 years. Marriage rates are going down. Yes. About 40% of all children in America are born out of wedlock. That's America. We are not happy. We're not getting money. We're not getting relationships. We're not getting careers. We're not good with our health care. And people go, but what about Ukraine or Israel or in the EU or whatever? And you wonder why people are like, let Trump go. Let's see what he does. See what he does. And why sadly, the Democratic Party is dancing on TikTok or whatever they're doing. People go, wait a minute, what is going on? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So Adam says, I'm one of those men who decided his life to academia and focus on career, then a family. So it wasn't worth it. Financially, legal issues in the minute. Yeah. Yes. Case John says it. I'm proud of it. You're speaking my TV era. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, it's true. Patty says, yes, sadly, the USA is a failed experiment, in my opinion. It is currently failed. The question is, can we fix it? I think it can be. I still have hope. You know, Patty, you know me. You know, I still have hope. I do. But yes, it is absolutely broken. Yes. Dave says, sadly, Taiwan, Ukraine, Poland, Germany, etc., aren't worth protecting. Trump can say F Ukraine, F Taiwan, F Poland, F Germany until the FDA takes over, etc. Here's the issue. I'm not saying that Fareed is wrong in what he's saying, or that other aren't wrong, that it will be bad if the AfD takes over or if Ukraine loses the war and the Russians take over. I'm not saying they're wrong in that outcome. I'm saying, how can they expect Americans to care when they can't fix their own home, when they can't fix their own place? That's what I'm saying, Dave, right? Now, again, you might go, but Larry, there's old saying in China, and they used it during the Korean War when the Chinese joined the war against Korea. They said, if your neighbor's house is on fire, don't you go help them put out the fire? You don't let it burn. And they were like, yeah, let's go help our Korean neighbors and beat the Americans out of South Korea in the 1950s. And that was one of the stories they said. Well, what happens if your house is on fire too? Do you go help the neighbor's house while your house burns? You don't. You put out your own house first. And too many Americans believe that their house is on fire. And I go, but then why was many people act the way they do? Well, because there's a whole bunch of people who are talking trash who are super privileged. And I say it all the time. The vast majority of people who are on CNN, who are on MSNBC, Fox News, all of them, they are privileged. Let me be very clear. Every one of them makes 7 figures a year, not 6, 7 figures a year. They're good. They're fine. They don't care about healthcare. They write a check. They don't care. They don't care about insurance. They write a check. They don't care about retirement. They have literally, all of them have 7 figures in retirement funds. They don't care. So they care about things like America looking and blah, blah. They care about the high end stuff because their day to day totally taken care of forever.
All these American moves will have an effect.
He's right.
They will begin to usher in a new multipolar world.
Yep.
Major countries like Germany and Japan will inevitably look out for their own security.
Think about that. He's unhappy about that. He's like, we should be securing them. And you know what? In a perfect world, he's right. It'd be great if only America had nuclear weapons and America control everything. Great. USA, USA. Wonderful. But the problem is all the safety and security that America has created over the course of the last 80 years or so has made a lot of people better off. He's right when he says and thinks that. He says things like this. Yeah, it's helped hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. True, accurate, just not in America. People will often tease and say trickle-down economics didn't work. Yes, it did, just not for Americans. Just not for Americans. It did work for the Chinese, for the Indians, for the Vietnamese, for the Mexicans. It totally worked for them, not for us. Everything in our life has gotten worse since those ideas. Since the 70s and 80s is when America started going on its decline. Since the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War was a turning point for America. That was the end. That's how I was seeing anything heading it down from there. See it, that era, the Vietnam War era after the moon. So we put a man in the moon. We put a man in the moon 40 years ago. Well, no, 60 years ago. 60 years ago. And we're still talking about that. We haven't done anything since then. 60 years ago. That's our peak. And we're on our way doing that. And guys like Fareed don't get it. They don't. They think, well, we have to have a stable world. I have to pay my rent. I don't want to spend $15 for eggs. Do I give a shit about a stable world? If I can't feed my family, I don't care. Again, not that he's wrong.
That could mean for Japan as well as for South Korea, nuclear weapons become an attractive option. And
okay, you might go, Larry, we don't want Japan to have nuclear weapons and South Korea to have nuclear weapons. I don't. True, I don't. You're right. But again, I'm going to go back to it. I'd also like to pay my bills. I'd like most Americans to have a good relationship with their girlfriend or boyfriend that they want. I'd like men to not check out and not worry about stuff. I'd like that. I'd like men to have good jobs so they don't want to sit in front of a computer all day and not do anything but that. I'd like women to find men that they are attracted to and they want to be with. I would like all those things. And I want those things more than I care about Japan or South Korea having nuclear weapons, even though he is correct.
An insurance policy against aggression. Under the US security umbrella, the world has seen remarkably little nuclear proliferation.
Yes.
That could change dramatically. Every country will consider how to wean itself off dependence on the US. As countries seek independence from the US, they might also seek alternatives to the dominance of the dollar.
This is a key piece. This is the part that actually bothers me. This scares me. This part does scare me. Because look, this is why it bothers me. Do I think we have to get rid of the Fed? 100% yes. But I don't want a shock to our system. We're already in trouble. I want to be clear. There's I think it was Robert Greene who wrote the book, The 48 Laws of Power. I got to see if I can find it. He talked about the idea of that what America's making right now is millions of dangerous men. I've been saying this for years. And women get mad at me. I see it in the comments. I get the texts. I get the DMs. I get them. Larry, why do you care so much about men? What about women? Blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you why. Because we are making 8 or 6, whatever, very dangerous men. Larry, they're dumb. They're sitting in front of the computer. Yes, you're right. But when stuff goes bad, when stuff goes south, and the real fascist shows up, not Trump, because that's not what that's stuff people made up. When the real one shows up, who's going to put the armband on? Those men. Who's going to put you or your loved one in a camp? Those men. They're waiting. We have a bunch of dangerous men right now. Why do you think things like the neo-Nazis and stuff are all growing? It's those men. And you may laugh, they're dumb, they're whatever. They're dumb until they get an armband and rifles. All of a sudden, they're not dumb anymore. They're dumb as they start putting you into a camp. Then they're not dumb anymore. I am concerned about this. Unhappy people. Every single fascist group ever, all of their armies are filled the ranks of disenfranchised men. Every time. Italy, Spain, Germany. Does not matter. Does not matter. And we got somewhere between 6 and 9 million of them sitting in front of the computer right now, mad at the world. Don't want anything. When women are in trouble, they go on TikTok and cry. When men are in trouble, they put on the armband. That's why I care about them more than the women being in trouble. Plus, the women, part of the reason why women are in trouble is they can't find men. That's one of the reasons why. Why? Because 8 million checked out. This is math. It's just math. So I am concerned, right? I am concerned about these things. And that's why I yap about it all the damn time.
Europeans, who are really the only ones who could mount an alternative, might start issuing EU bonds, which would be the most effective competitor to US Treasury bonds.
That's a
America's
true issue.
Exorbitant privilege of owning the world's reserve currency, which has allowed it to run up massive deficits at low cost.
Yes, but see, this is the part I'm okay with. If we eventually get rid of it and don't do that anymore, I'm okay with that. My worry is we're not going to pay attention. Our leadership is completely, utterly incompetent, and it's going to let it crash. And then all of a sudden things get worse. Look, the odds are very high there's going to be a crash this year. May not be. Odds are very high. Trump even said it in his when he did an interview. Was it yesterday? Today? When he did an interview, they were like, "Is there going to be a recession this year?" He's like, "Maybe." Again, his words, not mine. He's like, "What are you going to do?" Yeah, but he's like, "But it'll be okay." Now, to be for Trump and for us, for Trump, if the recession is relatively short and we see a return by Christmas or by New Year, he will be politically fine. He has some time for that to work for him. He does have some time where he'll be okay politically. That's all politically. If this gets bad and it doesn't get better by next year, he is going to be in trouble. Republicans are going to get their butt kicked in 2026 because they're going to want anything. They're going to want to hear anything because Trump will have failed if it doesn't get better by 2026. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't be sure. But Mike, if I had to bet, I'm going to bet there's going to be a bad downturn this year, probably the next 3 to 6 months. That's my assumption. The question is, will there be a rebound fast enough for Trump to be resuscitated or not? for 2026 or not. I don't know. We'll see how that works. Hopefully his tariff stuff works. I don't think it will. I don't like the tariffs at all, but maybe it will, right? Now, how about for us Americans? For us Americans, this is going to hurt us. This recession coming up is going to hurt us. We see it already. Why? Because this recession is going to be filled with debt. Americans are absolutely going into debt right now like there's no tomorrow. Maybe you aren't. I don't know if you personally are, but Americans are. As we go into more and more debt, what does that mean? Tons of bankruptcies. There was a thing that came up. Was it a New York Times maybe? New York Times, I think, was talking about the idea that during the Biden administration, they were actually hiding all the people defaulting on their loan, on their bank loans for the housing, and the government was just paying, taking taxpayer dollars, just paying. I'm not making that up. That's a New York Times story, right? Now, if they lie, they lie, but that's the actual New York Times story. That government took taxpayer dollars and paid off debt so it wouldn't look like all the housing is about to crash. The housing, I've been telling you, it's been already happening in Florida. Again, if you remember months ago, when some people were like, Kathy Hochul's doing a great thing. She's talking about making sure that the private equity can't buy up homes anymore. And I said, way too late. Private equity has been bailing out of home buying for this whole last year. They've been bailing out as no tomorrow. They're selling all their homes because they see it happening. They're dumping out and getting cash. So she's going to stop them from buying homes when they no longer want to buy homes. So she can act like she's being progressive and beating up on the banks without hurting her donors. It's actually brilliant for her because a lot of people who are Democrats or lean left don't know what I just said. So they think, oh, good, she's finally cracking down on the banks. No, she's not. They're already bailing on this. At one point, there was about 40% of all the new purchases from private equity. Now it's like 9%. Yes, that's how small it's gotten. They know, they see the sign. Florida is ground zero. And Florida housing is collapsing. And that's ground zero. You're seeing it already happening. So this is already a bad time for us. So I think it's going to happen. So for us, it's going to hurt badly. It's going to make a lot of us renters. The issue is, can we turn this around? And I'm going to tell you how I think we have a chance at a macro level of doing it. Let me wrap this up real fast if I could. I'm going to walk down.
Might erode faster than we could imagine. Mm-hmm. All these changes are gifts to Russia and China, whose goal has been to weaken America's power and presence in the world.
And this is propaganda. This is the propaganda piece, right? We can't do this because Russia and China. Because Russia and China. I will ask you again. If you are privileged, well, then you care about this. I get it, right? If I got 3 homes and I'm good and I make 7 figures a year like Fareed and everyone on CNN, again, every single anchor, reporter on CNN, every one of them makes 7 or 8 figures a year, not 6, 7 or 8 figures a year. All of them are set financially in every way, shape, or form. They're good. I'm not mad at them for it. I'm not good for them. Make money. Good for you. I'm not mad at them for it. All I'm saying is when you hear them speak, recognize where they're coming from. They're talking about up here and the global blah, 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 blah. But when you're sitting there going, I don't know. Do I want to buy meat this week because I can't afford it? Can I stop buying eggs because they're too expensive now? I don't know. Oh, my God. Yeah, he's speaking from a whole different world. What I'd be sure of, if you make, I hope all of you make 7 figures a year. And if you do, by the way, if any of you make 7 figures a year, then do me a favor, become a member. You're making 7 figures a year. Don't be cheap. 7 figures a year, become a member. Do it. $49 per month. Click on YouTube. If any of you are, please do so. But if you're making 7 figures a year, you'd probably agree with him. Just care about China and Russia and stuff. Yeah. But if you're sitting, I don't know if I can move because everything's messed up. I don't know if I can move because I don't have enough money to move. Or I don't know if I can get a new job because I can't afford to go a month without a paycheck. You don't think like him. You think differently. Yes. Now, if you are in that spot where you can't go one paycheck, then you don't have to become a member. But what you can do is click the like button. That's free. It doesn't matter how much money you pull in, if you're putting 7 figures in or not. You click the button that's known as like. Please do so. You can also share and repost it if you can. And I'm not running on Twitter. I guess Twitter's been down all day. So I'm not even running on Twitter. So that means more people have to see me now. So you got to share now. Because Elon screwed me today with Twitter, you guys got to help me out by doing extra sharing. Share this on Twitter. From YouTube, cut it out, put it on Twitter. From Facebook, cut it out, put it on Twitter. Do that so people can come over. Otherwise, how are they going to know? They're not. So help me out. Also, follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. Subscribe on YouTube if you would, and select all notifications. But Larry, I've already subscribed. Doesn't matter. YouTube decides randomly, you're a bot, and you're gone, and unsubscribes you. And you're not a bot. I know you're not a bot because you're commenting here. You're not a bot. So resubscribe. It doesn't matter. You can always super chat me. They go right to the front if you want to super chat me on YouTube, or you can rant me on Rumble. Either of those will work just fine. All right, let me wrap some of this up here.
As one Russia analyst said recently on GPS about Trump's Ukraine policy,
it's indeed like Easter, Hanukkah, Christmas, birthday of Vladimir Putin, and everything is happening on one day.
There we go. There we go. So don't do it. Don't worry about paying your rent. That's not important. Don't worry about getting your family and friends gifts you want to get them for their birthdays and how. Worry about Putin. And I know it sounds dumb, but that's what they're saying.
To those who think it's high time that we changed an international system that was so dependent on the U.S.,
that's me.
Have you weighed the costs and benefits?
I have, actually. I have weighed the costs and benefits. I have. And I would say that if I was making 7 figures a year, I would be totally on your side. Like totally on your side. I would be totally on your side. But I think most Americans are not there. Most Americans are heavily in debt, are unhappy, can't afford to buy a house, are worried about their rent. Too many of them are renters, see no future, so they don't care about the benefits.
The United States has spent 8 decades building an international system of rules, norms, and values.
He's right. This is an accurate statement. We have. That's true.
That has produced the
and look at all the places he's showing. Not America.
Longest period of great power, peace, and global prosperity.
And the stock market, which most people don't have anything in. Yes?
In human history. Its alliances are the greatest force multiplier for American influence around the world.
Accurate statement, American influence. And I would go back to the piece I brought before. If we're going to talk about us taking over Panama or taking over Greenland or taking over or whatever is the thing we're taking over, I would ask, where is that dividend for the American people? If you're talking about heading into Ukraine or whatever and getting $500 billion in metals or whatever he's talking about, let's assume that's true. I don't know if it's true, but let's assume it's true. Do we all get a check? We don't. Big corporations get checks, which I'm not mad at them. They're scamming the rules. We made the rules that he just talked about, the rules that gave all these big companies, right? And will we get some jobs? Yes, we will. There will be some jobs. That's true. Absolutely. But where's our check?
And America has been the greatest beneficiary of this system.
Okay, this is not the lie, but this is the propaganda, is what I'll say. America has been the beneficiary. Does he mean the American government? If he means the American government, he's correct. The American people, I just showed you evidence that he was wrong.
Even now, decades later, setting the agenda and dominating the world economically, technologically, militarily.
Yes, true.
As
we are $37 trillion in debt, more than any other nation out there. Some of the nations that we've been supporting actually aren't in debt at all. Some have zero debt. Some have nothing but benefit. I keep bringing up Norway. Norway has a sovereign fund with $1 trillion in it. Not a billion, $1 trillion. Like over their whole country. Norway has 5 million people. There are more people in New York City than there are in the entire country of Norway. I'm not making that up. More people in New York City than the entire country of Norway, and they have $1 trillion. We're $37 trillion in debt. They're positive $1 trillion. And there's 5 million of them. There's 350 million of us. What's that, times 70, right? So for us to be like Norway, America would have to have a $70 trillion fund. We're half of that in debt. To match Norway, we would have to have a $70 trillion debt. Michael goes, yeah, invade Norway. Agreed, but the problem if we invade Norway and took all the money, we'd still be $36 trillion in debt. Even if we took their money. So we could, but we're still 35 trillion away from making the money. So it doesn't work either way. But I get the point, right? So yeah, we're not gaining from this.
As this world unravels, America's privileged position will also decline.
Now he said it. Privileged position. Accurate, but privileged for who? Privileged for who? That's the question.
Creating a more dangerous and impoverished world and a more...
He's right. A more dangerous and impoverished world. I don't mean to be... I don't mean to sound mean, but maybe this is selfish, but I don't care if it is. But since the 1970s and the Vietnam War and the changes that we've had to where the rest of the world is now growing, we have an impoverished and more violent, dangerous country. The world may be safer and less impoverished, and it is. But how about us? At what point do we say stop? At what point do we say stop?
Isolated, mistrusted, and insecure America.
Yes, isolated, mistrusted, insecure. I don't know about insecure, but isolated, mistrusted, maybe. Why are we insecure? We have nuclear weapons and the most we have nuclear weapons, the most powerful military on the planet, and not even close, the most powerful Navy on the planet. Our Navy is more powerful than all of the navies on the planet combined. I'm not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. If you took all of the navies of every other country and put them all together and tried to fight our Navy, we would sink all of them. We would sink all the other ships. That is how powerful our Navy is. So we're not going to be insecure. That's not a thing. That's not correct. We are huge. AC says, the second largest Air Force in the world is the United States Navy. Correct. Yes, the best pilots in the world aren't Air Force pilots. They're Navy pilots. Remember Top Gun? Top Gun's not Air Force. It's Navy. Yes, he's absolutely correct. Yes, we are doing just fine. Yes, we're just doing just fine. So that's not a thing, right? We have to make sure that we're okay, and we are not. So disagree about the Navy. Hold on. Disagree about the Navy. No, you're right. It's true. It's true. Yes. He says, world's not safe from us. I guess you mean nukes. True. Not wrong. Not wrong. I always go quote. I don't know how to pronounce your whole thing. Russia and Chinese missiles. This is a valid issue. The Russians do have, and so do the Chinese, supersonic missiles. That's true. They do have supersonic missiles. That is very true. But the missiles they have, while they're powerful, unless you're going to put nukes on them, now that would change things, obviously. But assuming you're not going nuke, assuming not, even with those missiles, some of you who know the Navy, the way there is it is very hard to sink a naval vessel, like really hard. Like you have to hit that, you got to hit that vessel with like multiple missiles to sink a naval vessel. And we would counterstrike. So wherever your missiles are, we would counterstrike them. So yes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not insecure. Is my point, right? The Chinese and the Russians aren't going to try to invade us. That's not a thing. That part's not true, right? That's not a thing. But the other parts, the post-American world may change things. I agree. But maybe it's okay.
The post-American world is now in plain sight.
And I bring that because he may be right about a lot of things, but maybe America's okay with it, right? Maybe America's okay because we got to fix our own house and our house in trouble. We have a terrible wealth gap across our country. In New York State, as I say all the time, New York State has the worst wealth gap in the entire country. It's all a problem, and we've got to fix it. And I know people saying, but Trump is bad. I get it. I'm not, look, you guys know if I had to choose, I wouldn't choose his way. I've been open about that. My problem is no one else has done anything and no one's still giving even an opportunity. What's their answer? And the sad part is when it comes to the Democrats, if you go back to Bernie in 2016, he was actually giving up answers. He was like, we got to do Medicare for all, tax to billionaires, blah, blah. I would ask you, what mainstream Democrat, other than Bernie kind of failing at it, other than Bernie, is right now talking even about that? Again, I'm not a fan of it, but that would be an answer, right? They used to have answers. Even Jill Stein had answers. Democrats don't have any. They're dancing on TikToks and whatever. They're doing that stuff. So over on Rumble, Joel says, our governor, the first mom governor of New York, knows how hard it is to make ends meet. She's one of us. She tries to do that. She's now, if you saw my governor, Her Majesty, Queen Kathy, first of her name, she actually is now out in diners telling people how hard it is to be a mom because this is Women's Month or whatever. Yeah, right? So she's telling people how she knows. And she hasn't stopped playing identity politics. And she won't. She hasn't stopped and she won't stop. That is her thing. But people say she'll play the race card. Doesn't play the race card. She plays a gender card all the time. That is her thing. And she has learned that enough people just don't care anymore. But anyway, let me grab some comments and questions if I can here. Let's see here. Michael says, bye-bye bureaucratic state. God, I hope that's true, but I don't know if that's true. I am seeing them fight back against it, which the one thing I like about it is, and I do like this concept. Sadly, there's a lot of pain with it. But the concept of saying, okay, is it important to have bureaucrats? And if so, how? And should we control them? And how much control should we have over them? This is stuff we haven't done. So that part's good. I just feel bad for a lot of the pain that's happening because of it. And again, to be very forward, why is this happening? It's happening because there was no plan before. That's why it's happening. No plan before. Now you get this. And people get mad at me. I had a guy get mad at me. Larry, how can you say this? Why don't you stand up for stuff? What am I going to stand for? I'm going to virtue signal to make some idiot libertarian happy? I'm a libertarian too. And libertarians love virtue signaling. Oh my God. But if you want a virtue signaling libertarian, go to almost any other libertarian podcast and you will find virtue signaling from start to finish. Just yelling government bad, just doing that, no answers, virtue signaling, I'm purer than you, you're not a real libertarian. That is almost every other libertarian podcast. I hope you see my podcast not as a libertarian podcast, but as an interesting cultural political podcast run by a libertarian. That's how I hope you see my podcast. And you may not, but that's how I hope you see the show. Because I don't want to be that. If you want a virtuously libertarian, they're everywhere. Just Google it and watch any of them. And they'll just do that. That's not the guy I am. You want that guy, that from me? You got the wrong guy. There's a dozen shows that do that any day of the week. So anyway, all righty. Shelly, thank you for being a member. She says it's accurate, but not the whole story. True. So this is one of the reasons people often ask me, why do you watch CNN? Well, I watch some CNN shows, usually they're weekend shows. I tend to watch Smirconish almost every week, which is Saturdays, if you care, 9 p.m. 9? Yeah, 9 p.m. And then Fareed Zakaria, 10 p.m. Not p.m., a.m., sorry, 9 a.m. on Saturday, and then 10 a.m. on Sunday. Generally speaking, Smirconish tends to take care of more domestic issues that are happening on, and Fareed is usually more international. There are exceptions, but generally speaking, Fareed is more of an international spin, and Smirconish has more of a national, domestic spin. And generally speaking, their data, as I always say, is correct. Like they're not giving you lies; they're giving you truth. They're telling you what's actually happening. I don't always agree with their answers, but I want to hear what they're feeling. Plus, they tell you what the corporate media is saying. That's why I do it. So yes, there we go. The Liberal Lady says, hey, I like the layout with Larry larger and the video smaller. Opinion sharpest. Well, thank you for that, guys. I do appreciate that. Yes, I did show the video with me a little bit larger. Some people were complaining I was too tiny. So I was like, okay, I'm bigger now. I'm big. So there we go. Yes. Philip says, Europa über alles. Don't stop. And then Shelly, of course, says, Jawohl. You spelled Jawohl wrong. Just saying. It's actually spelled J-A for Ja. and Vol, I think, is W. Hold on. W-O. Oh, W-A. Ends with L. It's W, though. It's Jawohl. J-A-W. My German spelling isn't as good as it should be. But yes, I mean, I have the flag, so I know. But yes, Shelly, you should know. Your last name is Schultz. Come on. Schultz. Come on now. You should know that. So yes. Anyway, Schultz literally means sergeant. So it's play on words. Colonel Klink. Klink means prison. There we go. Put you in the clink. Yes. That's why by the way, a bunch of little German words like that, like someone gets hurt, someone gets hurt, and they go, oh, that's smarts. That comes from the German word hurt pain, which means smitz. So yes, comes from that also. So a lot of German words are popping in into English. For those of you who don't know this, there was a call many years ago for America to actually have, there was such a huge influx in German immigrants that there was a call in America to have 2 official languages. Obviously, we had none until Trump just announced it. It was going to be English and German. True story. Not just that, some of you don't know, the Pennsylvania Dutch are not Dutch. They have Pennsylvania Deutsch, which is Pennsylvania German, and they speak a type of German, which is a little bit off then, but it's a little bit type of German. So, and the largest ethnic minority in America to this day, still German. About 20% of Americans can somehow trace their heritage back to being German. So it's the largest of all of them. So some interesting German facts today. Any case. So, all righty. Adam says, bro, I ain't seen one of your streams appear on my end in months. Misha, thank you, my friend. Adam, you are out of Western Australia? Oh, is that right? Did I get it right? I forgot. Is it? I think so, yeah. So it's tough, I know, to see my stuff, but I think maybe I'm finally not being shadow banned anymore. Doubt it. But I have been shadow banned forever. Maybe now I'm not. We'll see. I'm hoping that I'm not there. So yes. All right. See if I can go down here. Schultz is like Smith in Germany, but we got the name from Hungary. Oh, yes. Yeah. But Smith is Schmidt, right? If I'm not mistaken, that is direct. Schmidt, yes. IC says, I said last year that we were in a recession. Now they're acknowledging that fact. We've been in a recession actually for a while. We've been in a recession for probably a couple of years, to be forward with you. We have been. We've been hiding it with a heavy debt and, of course, heavy pumping money in, right? Heavy debt and pumping money in. I'm talking about an actual crash coming. And the reason why I think a crash is going to come is because look at all the layoffs. They're everywhere. AI is doing so much. There's now, if I remember right, where did I see it? There is an actual factory someplace, factory or warehouse, I think, that is now completely run by bots. So that's the future. Yeah, that's the future. So yeah. The AC says we have a wealth gap because the government, okay. We have a wealth gap because the government, and keeps it from doing anything. Those of us who aren't rich, well, they get richer. I think what he's saying is we have a wealth gap because the rich own the government and keep it from doing anything. Those of us who aren't rich, while they get richer. That's accurate. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I'd agree. You're not wrong. Yep. Adam says, to be honest, I get the American resistance to not want to give aid overseas. However, America needs to honor its agreements. It's made like NATO. If not, they have to leave. Also, when it comes to reverse, don't be surprised when the national community leaves you alone in times of need. Agreed, right? And I think, look, to be forward again, I'm not saying you're wrong or Fareed is wrong. What I'm saying is the system that has helped the world so much has not helped the average American. Has it helped America? Yes, 100% true. And the data is in America, and I'm putting quotes because what does that mean? It means, to AC's point, the wealthy in America, the corporations in America, the government in America have all gained from this. That's true. That's accurate. But the average American hasn't. The average American has not. And I think that's why so many of them are like, whatever. And people might say, well, wait a minute, Larry. I mean, this is crazy. It's Trump. To be forward, I believe this. If Bernie had actually run in 2016, if the Democrats hadn't broken their system and broken him through their system, and he'd have tried some hardcore left stuff, I think America might have been okay with it. They might have been. I would say now, what if he had run as a Democrat, a Bernie or whatever Bernie equivalent, would have run as Democrat? And would have left the cultural stuff aside and only been economically left and left the cultural garbage aside and focused on, because Trump is killing America on the cultural stuff. That's why he's winning. That's why he brings it up, because he wins in those battles. Leave the left cultural stuff to the side, focus economically cultural. I think America would have been okay with that. Imagine if a Bernie type would have won, a real Bernie type, not the sellout now that we have. But anyway, that person doesn't exist now. So I'm making up some magical person. Magical younger Bernie type runs and wins. Is that Dean Phillips? I don't know who it is. Whatever. That guy wins, and he wins and says, we're going to do Medicare for all. And we're going to do it through executive order. I think America would have been like, fine, it's something. I think the same, and you might think I'm crazy, I think the same thing would have happened. If America had voted not for the rebel that is Trump, but the rebel that is imaginary Bernie type that I've made up in my mind, that person who does not exist right now, if that person had actually won the election, America would have been like, fine. Yes, we're going to make it illegal to be a billionaire. Signing up, I think we'd be like, fine. Now, to be forward, this is the AC's point. The people who own the government would have made sure that person had an accident. So I'm kind of in my fantasy world here saying this, right? But I'm saying theoretically, I think Americans would have been like, we want change. We're going to shut up and let it happen. But that person would have had an accident and would have ended up in a box somehow. But again, this is my Marvel universe, and we're going into the other universe and parallel universe stuff that's not real. But anyway, there we go. So, any case, all right. Let me keep walking down this road if I could. So, all righty. Let's see here. Mastermind Hour. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for coming out today. When the boomers came up, they got married younger than any generation in history. It's no surprise they have the highest divorce rate also. Divorce rates are crazy high for everybody, just boomers. Older women are unhappy and they are leaving marriages left and right. Educated women leaving marriages left. They're unhappy. Women are very unhappy. Men are too. I mean, but while men aren't, there's a difference in what's happening in our current system. Men aren't leaving marriages. They're not getting married. Women are leaving marriages. That's the difference. So the two most unhappy groups in America now are older women and younger men. That's the most unhappy. Like, we're all unhappy, but I'm saying percentage-wise. Older women, younger men. Swap it for happier. Younger women, older men are happy. That's why they're actually dating more. That's true. Older men and younger men are dating more. They're actually happier relative to the others. So, yeah. And now the average woman gets married at like 30. Now you might go, Larry, is that, again, to Matt's point, compared to before? Yeah. It used to be a time when most women were getting married in their early 20s, like 21, 22, 23. Those days are over. Now it's like 30. And look, my personal opinion, I don't really care when you get married. Get married at your 50. I don't care. Whatever is appropriate, right? Get married when it works for you. But when it comes to an entire group of people, if a woman's getting married at 30 versus 20, that's 10 years that she was not with a family having children, right? That's 10 years that the average man's getting married even older, like 32, 33. So that's now 12 years for that guy, or whatever it was before, that he's not with the woman, he's not with the family, he's not having kids. So we're losing a 10-year chunk. And you might go, Larry, does that matter? If we're not having children, yes. If we still have children, no, right? Enjoy your life, you do you. And again, for the individual, obviously, I'm a libertarian, you do you. But it doesn't mean it won't affect the nation as a whole, right? If we're having less children, that affects the nation as a whole, either way. So just bring that piece up. Hope that makes sense. So, all righty. Patty says the two-party system doesn't want to fix the USA. They like it broken. Accurate. Yes. Accurate. Andrea says, or when they can't afford a home in the first place. Yes. Why do I care? Why do I care? I don't mean to be mean, Andrea. I think you get it, right? I don't mean to be mean, but what we're going to do. Dave says an American experiment is failing because Democratic and Republican parties would rather win than fix the country. Correct. Accurate statement. Yes. 100%. All righty. Liberty Lady says, Larry, I've been watching your Facebook stories daily. I like having a different way of consuming your content. See, you guys should be watching the Facebook stories. I'm trying to put out more stuff. I didn't put out as much today as I have, but the last couple of days I've been putting out shorts, putting out more videos. so you guys can watch. And remember, I put out a best of from last month, so you can watch that too if you want to. So all those things. So I'm doing the work, guys. You're supposed to be good to me now. I'm doing the work. Does that mean you just like give me stuff? Maybe, I'm not sure. So Shredan says, yes, Yavol is W-O-H-L. I knew it was W-O something. Yavol is J-A. Shredan is telling me now over on Rumble. It is J-A, which I knew was Ya. And then Vol is W-O-H-L. It was W-O-L-A. I didn't know how it went, but my German spelling is as good as it could be. So yes. So Yavol is J-A, second word, W-O-H-L. So by the way, if you don't know what that means, it basically means yes, sir. It's not exactly, but it basically means yes, sir. And it's used heavily in the military. It was, at least. So yes. All righty. Let me grab some of these if I could. Let me grab some more of these. The AC says, make other countries submit to weapons inspections under the threat of being nuked. Not okay with that one. No, I don't be saying, let us see it or we'll nuke you. No, let's not do that. No. The thing we want to do if we want to have a perfect world, and obviously we're not there, but the best case scenario is countries don't want to have them. They feel safe enough to not have them, right? That's the goal. Let's make a world that's safe enough to where people go, why would I want to spend? Because to be forward, nuclear weapons are both dangerous and expensive. That's why they don't want to do them, because they're dangerous and expensive. I get it. If I was a country and didn't have to get one, I got it. Let's not get them. But they like to have to. Yeah. Phil says, that's really what Elon Musk has brought somewhat, glamorizing manufacturing and reaching for big goals. Kinda, yeah. Kinda. I think he brings tech, though, a lot, too. So, kinda. Yeah. Dave says, 55 years ago, we put a man on the moon. Yes. And we're still like, that's what we did. Yeah. The AC says, there were a couple of ladies on Fox News who were saying eggs are so expensive that I bought some chickens and let them go around and lay eggs on the back 40. Yes. The funny part about this is I know some friends who got chickens years ago because they just like chickens. And they're like, life's good now. So, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Dave says, why should we care if Ukraine, South Korea, Germany, Taiwan develop nuclear weapons? If we won't defend these countries, why shouldn't they defend themselves? Two reasons. I think the world's not going to end if they do, right? But the reason why you'd be worried about that is, one, the more you have, the more chance that they might let one go for some reason, or some might gamble and think, well, you won't do it over this. What do I mean by that? For those who don't know, Germany during World War II had massive stockpiles of chemical weapons. Massive stockpiles of chemical weapons. Never used them. Massive stockpiles of chemical weapons. Even in the end, never used them. No Wunderwaffen. They did not use any of them. So, and we knew they could. If you see the pictures of Germans going into battle in the early war, they all had a circular canister on their back. That's their gas mask, because they didn't know if chemical weapons would be used during the war. By the end of the war, you never saw it anymore. Why? Because no one was using chemical weapons. But they used to carry gas masks into combat in the early parts of World War II, thinking they might use chemical warfare against each other, because they did in World War I. They used mustard gas and other types of gas against each other. They didn't. So weapons of mass destruction weren't used even during that combat. And so someone might go, well, I'll invade South Korea. They would never use that. I'll invade Taiwan. They would never use that. And they might. So that's one worry. The second worry is, are they going to be able to maintain them? They are expensive and dangerous. So is Ukraine or South Korea or Germany, Taiwan, I mean, who knows? Are they going to be able to maintain them? They're expensive and dangerous. And the more of them, then they fall into the hands of someone who doesn't care. And most of our enemies now are not going to be nation states. They're going to be groups of people who decide, I have an agenda and I don't have a homeland that I'm worried if it gets bombed or not. So I'll just bomb yours. What are you going to do? Kill me? It's a suicide mission. I don't care. So that would be the worry. That's why you would worry. To be forward, Dave, I'm not saying that's enough for us to at AC's point, threaten to nuke them if they don't do it. I'm not saying it's enough, but that will be the fear, right? And we have to balance that and go, okay, what's more important? And I think most Americans are saying, I want to be able to feed my family. It's more important. So yes. Anyway, IC says, calling Trump the F word paves the way for the real F man to rise unchecked. Correct. IC, it's what I've been saying. Correct. Because we've cried wolf too many times. Here's the problem. What we've done in America, and this has been Democrats more than anybody else, it's not even close, is we've used horrible words and shaming language and insults so often on everybody, right? The right's in it too. If you remember when Barack Obama first was elected, they had pictures of him with the mustache and he was that guy, right? They had that. Everybody's that guy, right? But the left isn't it worse. At the left, the Democrats isn't it worse in the past since Trump. And they call everybody they don't like a Nazi or a fascist. Everybody's that. Everyone's an ist or a phobe. Everybody is. I say, oh, that guy's, whatever. That guy looks gay or whatever. Oh my God, you're a homophobe. Or that guy looks big. Oh my God, you're an ableist or whatever. Right? Everyone's an ist or a phobe, no matter what you say or do. Well, there are real ists, to your point. I see. There are real fascists in this world, real Nazis in this world, in this country, real ones who are happy putting the armband on and will build the camps. You are correct. Those people exist. But now you don't even believe them anymore because you've called like the guy down the street who put a Trump sign out. You called him that. He's not that. He just hates Democrats, right? So he puts a Trump sign out to troll the Democrats. That's why he did it. But we've called him that. So now when I say, no, here's a real one. Look, he's got the armband. Whatever. I heard this 1,000 times, Larry. So tired of you talking about everyone's an ist or a phobe. I don't care. No. He's building a camp. He's got like 5 other guys with armbands. Whatever. That's going to happen. You're right. That's going to happen. So the guy who's really going to build a camp and put the armband on, we're going to ignore. You're right. Shredan says, in 1992, we were worried that the old Soviet Union would have the nukes stolen. We would help protect the nukes until Russia was strong enough to protect them. Yeah, that was another point. Yes, we were worried about that. That's the worry. So far that we know, none have popped up anyplace. So far. Let's hope that stays for a long time. Let's hope so. Yes. Swinbot, how are you? Every time I'm new here, every time I hear Larry talk, I appreciate what he's saying more and more. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm happy that more people are coming and seeing this and seeing value. What I try my best to do, Swimbot, is I try to give you some insight that other people wouldn't tell you, right? Some people say, well, Larry, you should follow the news. You can get the news anyplace. You don't need me to have to tell you the news. Well, we have to report it anyplace. It's all over the place. Just type in news, you'll get it. My hope is you'll see my show and I'll give you some spin to the news or some idea about the news that you hadn't thought of, or hopefully my best case is some inside baseball to understand what's actually happening, the actual spin on why it's really happening. And that's what I try to do more than ever. That's my hope. So yes. Phil says, I would much rather see the U.S. get back into making things rather than debt. Yes. Yes. I hope we can. So yes. Shelley, thank you for becoming a member. I think Cuomo keeping kids from school and telling other states to do the same. If they don't breed, where will he get young women to touch inappropriately? He didn't think that through. Valid point. Yes. Valid point. It's true. Dave says if it doesn't get better, Trump will probably blame the Marxists and trans in the Democratic Party. He might, but here's the thing. Fair or not, Dave, fair or not, the president gets blamed for what happens, whether it is their fault or isn't. The president gets blamed. If things go well, he did it, even if he didn't. Things go poorly, his fault, even if it isn't. It's kind of how it works. There's some exceptions here or there, but generally speaking, if things go bad, they're going to blame Trump. If things go well, he's going to get the credit, whether he had anything to do with it or nothing, right? I think that tends to be what people are going to be thinking. Guys, I want to ask you if I could please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click that button. I ask you today, especially because I can't go live on X. X is down for me today. So there's no way I can get people to see this unless you click that button so that Mr. Rhythm, first name Al, middle name Gore, that guy, Mr. Rhythm, he's able to show this to many places and many things so that people can see it. In fact, if you want to, please repost this in X. Post it in X so people who were usually watching X go, wait a minute, Larry's not on X. Oh, he's on Rumble. Oh, he's on Facebook. Oh, he's on YouTube. Let me go over there and watch him because he's a very handsome man. Not because he's smart, because he's handsome, because I am clearly just being surface and shallow. All right. Also, please subscribe if you haven't to YouTube. And when you do, click all notifications. It does matter. Share on everything I tell you. Please share them on share this, and also follow me on Rumble. Follow me on Facebook and on X. Again, every little bit counts. I'm trying to get more people to see this. It is very challenging. As you know, I've been shadow banned literally for 5 years. Since I started saying things about the mandates in 2020, that's when it all began, and it's still here. If you want to get right to the front, super chat me or rant me on Rumble, and it goes right to the front. If you want to become a member, membership. Why do I keep bugging you guys on membership? Because membership is ongoing per month. So if you can do that, it's awesome. $49 per month. Click the join button on YouTube, or if you're on Rumble, click the subscribe button during the live. Both of those are awesome. Helps me out tremendously. I can spend more time doing this and less time doing my damn work. So yes. All righty. Phil says, who's Free going to sell his Swiss chalet to? That's a problem. Right? Why don't you care about him, Phil? Why are you so selfish, Phil? I don't get why you are that selfish. He's going to have to sell that chalet to somebody, right? I mean, it's probably like his second or third. So people like you, Phil, I don't understand you. Just so selfish. You don't care about guys like Freed. Only think about yourself, paying bills and stuff. So you are. He says, I saw the signs at the time and got out of debt a couple years ago. Smart move. No mortgage, no credit card debt. Nice. I've been telling people to get the debt monkey off their backs for some time. I'm with you, IC. You should try that. The problem is many of us find ourselves in tough spots, and it doesn't become so easy, particularly if we have other people we depend upon. It becomes harder. But you're right. You should try no matter what. I completely agree. It can be challenging, though, if you have a family, if you have a business, you have other things you're working on. It can be challenging to stay out of debt. I know I've had issues. I've run for office. Big time debt. Yes, absolutely. I agree. Yes. Phil says, traditionally, fast, difficult recessions lead to quick recoveries, but they can't intervene to stop the short-term pain. And look, if Trump does that, and I don't know what it's going to happen. I don't know how bad or how good this will be, how they'll respond. If Trump does it, he's going to be a hero. I mean, for those of you who are older, if you remember Reagan, when Reagan came in, we hit a recession, but bounced out of it hard and good. And people loved Reagan because we bounced out of it. Will this happen for Trump? I don't know. I'm unsure, right? I'm unsure. We'll see, right? Hopefully for Americans, that will happen. So, yeah. Phil says, no, but engagement drives the Mr. Rhythm. I'm doing my part. Oh, I have to get that little GIF. I'm doing my part. Yes. Michael says, if you count the decimal point, I'm making low 7 figures a year. There we go. Look at you. You good. You are good. I love that. But you know, I'm not counting them. But yes, that's great. Yes. Phil says, Ukraine hacked X. Is that right? Is that what happened? Okay. Take that. There we go. AC says, they said Twitter was under a severe cyber attack today. Well, it shut me down, so I guess that's true. I guess it did shut me down, so I guess that's true. So yes. All righty. Let's see. Shelly says, Facebook threw me out while sharing a live stream of a guy named Larry. Yes. Yes. I've seen it happen more than once. Yes. K-John says, I'm 68. My boyfriend's 46. We've been together for 10 years, and we're happy. Not rich monetarily, but in every other way. And this is my point, K-John. You want to be able, I want people to be able to be happy. If that includes a lot of cash, good, right? If you prefer having lots of cool things and living in big cities and all that, good for you. Love it. And if you're like, no, we need little things, good. I'm not here to judge happiness. I'm here for you to be happy, right? That's the critical piece, for you to be happy. That's the critical part. And it does matter, right? Depending upon who you are. And look, if 8 million men walk away from the dating market, women are going to have trouble finding men. It's just, It's math, right? Where are all the good men? They're at home, not being good men because they don't want to be. IC says, my mom married at 16 years old. Yep. She and my dad were married until they passed one day apart. Oh, wow. They had 14 children. Those days, unless you're Amish, are long gone. I'm not joking when I say Amish. I think I showed you guys that video, what, two or was it 3 weeks ago, maybe? I forgot how long ago it was, on the growth of the Amish and evangelicals, stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, all righty. Mike Voss in the house. So I don't think America's failing, but I do think progressive elitists want America to fail. Yeah, but you hate the left no matter what. That's just you. That's not newsflash. Mike Voss doesn't like Democrats. What? Yes, they despise what America stands for. The thing that I would say here is, I don't think progressives want America to fail. Then that's not true. I think what they actually want is America to be a different country than it actually is. And that is why many of the people who are elitists are angry at America, because it isn't the country they want it to be. They want it to be something very different. They don't see it as failure, right? They see it as, we'll change it into the thing that we want to change it to. And we will shame and force it by controlling the establishment to make it the country we want. They don't see it as failing, right? And I'll bring the example of like someone like Mao in China. Mao didn't see his policies as failure. I mean, clearly they were failure. He didn't say it that way. If people had died to mold this country, okay. Genghis Khan, I remember from the movie I saw, they gave him a quote there. I don't know if it was actually his quote or if the writer made it his quote, but in the movie called Mongol, he says, I'm going to bring civilization to my people if I have to kill half of them to do it. That's what Mao was like. I'm going to bring communism to China. If I got to kill 20 million, what are you going to do? He didn't see it as a failure. So I don't think they see it as America failing. They want America to be the way they want it to be. They don't see it as a failure. I know you see it as one. I get it, but they don't. They don't see it that way at all. So let's see here. Michael Zona say, progressive leaders control the schools. True. Introduce trans/sex children. True. Affirm gender neuter kids. Make any male-female interaction toxic. Sadly, often true. Not always. The last part not always true, but has been often. They are why the birth rate's unsustainable. Elitists are the reason. Maybe. Part maybe. I don't know. It seems too simplified to be the only answer. I'd be open to be a part of an answer, but there's a lot of things that are happening, right? There's a lot of things that are happening here. So, yeah, not just one. The AC says, that was a continuation of me saying that we had the opportunity to do that and decided not to. Oh, yes. Yeah, we were supposed to be. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Mike says, Taiwan would use nukes to fend off China. No way. Ukraine is far too corrupt to trust with nukes. That's true. They would tell them to drop on Russia due to past. Yeah, I think it's right. But no, they wouldn't. Within 20 years, maybe 50, whatever the number of years is, Taiwan is going to sign some kind of deal and become part of China. I'm telling you that right now. I'm happy to make that. I've said this years ago. That is the future. The future for Taiwan is there will be some type of agreement. It'll be very similar to the Hong Kong agreement. It'll be like a one country, two systems agreement. And China will be very good with Taiwan for like 10 or 20 years, just like they were with Hong Kong. And then they'll just take them over. That's what will happen. It's going to follow the Hong Kong model. But the Taiwanese will not want to be bombed. They're not going to use nukes to defend it because they get nuked themselves. That's not going to happen. That would never happen. No way in the world will ever happen. Why do you think the Taiwanese people are now making stuff in America? Because Trump is so smart and savvy? No, because they recognize that they're not going to get defended. So they got to move their services over to America so all the Taiwanese elites can flee to America when the Chinese take over. I'm not making that up. That's what happened in Hong Kong. All the Hong Kong elites packed up and went to England. Of course. Why wouldn't they? So something's going to happen here. The Taiwanese are gonna make agreements with that. Remember that gold card to $5 million? They're going to buy a whole bunch of them gold cards. And when they make the agreement with China to sign it over, it's going to come to America. And they got a business here. That's why they're doing it. That's That's prepping for Taiwan to sign over. That's going to be true. That the people who are saying Taiwan's going to fight that's never going to happen. That's not a thing. There's no way Taiwan cannot win a war with China. Impossible. They see what happened with Ukraine. They get it. They've been watching it. They're like, okay, so how do the elites escape when China takes over? That's the whole reason for this. Why didn't this happen before? Because they recognize what's going to happen now. They saw it with Ukraine. You know, Trump's not going to defend them. So let's make sure we have a spot for our elites to go once we sign the deal. And they will sign it. Within the next 15 years, maybe give or take. I'll say that openly. I'm going to be right. And China will agree with it for like, whatever, 20 years or something, whatever the time period is, and then just take it over. Same as they did with Hong Kong. They were actually, for those of you who remember, Hong Kong went over to China in 1997. And in 97, when it went over, for like 20 years, the Chinese are pretty good to the Taiwan, to the Hong Kong. They're pretty good. 15, 20 years, pretty good. Then went, oh, no, you're just one of us. So you'll do what we say, how we say it. They'll just do that. And they'll do the same thing with Taiwan. They will be good to them for whatever number of years, 10, 20 years, whatever, and then go, no, you're just one of us. So we're doing what we want. That's the future of Taiwan. And people can think whatever they want. That's the future. And again, I'll be here 10 or 15 years from now. And Mike, if you're right, you can come on and you can gloat all you want. But I got to feel about it in this one. It's just the way it works. So, yeah. Charlie says, that's someone else. I'm sorry. You're talking to someone else, not me. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can grab some more of these. Michael says he's building a camp. Is he wearing a blue shirt? I'd rather go to Larry Sharpe's political camps than a Rio Nazi camp. I agree. Yes, absolutely. Kevin says, are you endorsing a 2025 New York City mayoral candidate or running? I will not be running for mayor of New York City. I don't think that's going to be a thing. It's not realistic for raising money and pushing people to do stuff to get so little impact. Cuomo is dominating, and it's going to dominate. I mean, unless something crazy happens, he's our next governor. In fact, I'm literally doing a show tomorrow. My radio show tomorrow, which is already up if you want to see it, is already up, is about Cuomo becoming mayor. I'll have my radio show tomorrow at 1 p.m. So, yeah. I might endorse somebody if somebody wants to endorse me. I might, but it doesn't mean anything. It's not going to matter, but I might. There's nothing there. It doesn't matter. So, yes. All right. The AC says part of Biden's problem was was even so old and decrepit that he couldn't communicate his wins. And everybody's going to communicate your loss. Not wrong. His wins for the left, he had a couple of them. He did. You're right. And he was terrible at promoting them. You're totally correct. His team was bad at that. You're right. That's true. Yes. So Straight Ann over on Rumble says, Larry will be old enough to be president in 10 to 20 years by today's standard. True. 15 years I can run for president. Yep. See that? I'll be ready to go. Look at that. I'll be ready to go. 15 years, give or take. And I am ready to go. Absolutely. That'll be amazing. All right. Let's see here. Coliti says, yes, Larry gives us news we can use, knowledge, new thoughts, and exchange of ideas. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. Adam says, great to see you again. Love. Yeah, it was. I remember you from Australia. I thought it was Western Australia. I knew you from Australia. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're back, Adam. Glad to see you. I'm glad you are back. Absolutely. All righty. Let me see if I can do this. Adam says, Larry, did you ever write that happiness book? You did promise a signed copy. Hopefully this year. I've been talking about it forever. Hopefully this year. I had some changes in my life. I actually finished the book. Then I had some changes in my life after my horrible 2022 run. And I was really unhappy. So I felt like it was not the right time to put out a book on happiness. And then with everything happening in that year, I have to rewrite the last chapter. I have to rewrite it. It doesn't work anymore. So I actually did finish it. Interesting story. I gave the first 5 chapters away at Freedom Fest. True story. Gave about 100 of them out. Just gave them out. Read it, tell me what you think. Nobody responded. Absolutely true. I gave it out like in 2021, maybe like 3 years ago. I gave out the first 5 chapters, gave it out. Said, here you go. Tell me what you think. I gave about 100, 150 copies out. Not one person responded to me. Not one. When that happened, I assumed, man, this sucks. I thought I wrote a good book. It's obviously a piece of crap. They're not telling me because they feel bad. They don't want to hurt my feelings. They don't want to call me and go, Larry, it's garbage. So no one responded. I thought, oh, it sucks. So I put it on the shelf. I thought I bought a crappy book and I just ended it. That's a true story. That's why it didn't come out in 2021. It was going to come out in 2021 because I was going to run in 2022. So I put the book out in 2021 and it was a planned thing. But nobody responded. Not one. 150 books. 150 binder. I get binders. The first 5 chapters. 150. Nobody responded to me. I thought, okay, I wrote a piece of garbage. That sucks. I thought it was good. I guess I'm wrong. And I shelved it. Then about a year later, this is, you might think I'm crazy, Adam, but it's true. About a year later, people start saying, hey, Larry, when are you going to bring your book out? What do you mean? Well, you gave me the 5 chapters, waiting for the rest of it. Dude, I told you. Tell me what. Oh, no, I liked it. Could you have just like texted me or told me or you saw me, said something? I literally gave it to everyone and said, please tell me what you think. And not one person did. And then I got people yelling, going, oh, I liked it. I had like 6 people tell me I liked it. All right. So that's the reason why I didn't come out. And then when I was going to put out, my life went into the toilet. So I was like, now I can't. And then I've been away from it from over a year. And if you ever had a project like that and you go away from it, it's hard to get back into it. It's very hard to get back into it. So, yes. Anyway, hope I answered the question. Ace says, I think both men and women today have too high and unrealistic standards. Know that I do. That's also true. Yeah. The problem with this is, AC, is that so many people are not comparing their girlfriend or boyfriend to the people around them. They're comparing their girlfriend or boyfriend to the people on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or wherever they look at things. Well, those guys are all great, having a wonderful time. They're all massive and perfect and beautiful. And they're rich and they're hot and they're funny and they're all the things. Well, first off, they probably aren't because it's all projected, right? If I set everything up, I can look rich and hot and sexy if everything's fake and I set it all up. So yeah, so that's number one. But even if some of them are actually rich and hot and funny and all the things, there aren't that many of those people out there. So how am I going to get them? And then how would I get them? Right? Say I want some, I don't know, 29-year-old, 5'9" model. Who says I should get one? Just because I deem it so? Because I have high standards. So all of a sudden, the only people I can talk to are 29-year-old hot models with I don't know, brunette hair and blue eyes. Not that I care about that. Blue eyes, blue and brunette. Not that I'm care about brunettes, but brunette. Anyway, my point being, it doesn't matter. I think you're totally right. We should actually have, believe it or not, lower standards when it comes to things that are more surface. Sadly, so many of us have been trained to be shallow and care about surface things because that's what we see in our social media. So we're not concerned, to your point, AC, whether the person is actually kind or loves me or caring or wants to work for a relationship. That stuff is secondary. I'm not joking. I think, we're worried about, are they hot? Are they wealthy? Are they have status? What about things like that? It's the wrong thing to be. Look, I'm not saying you need to get somebody who's some terrible person. I'm not saying that. But for those more shallow or surface things to be priorities, look, you can do it. You do you. I'm not mad at you for it. You do what you want. But in my view, that's silly. I think I agree with you. It's silly for that to be number one. Or they have to have a perfect match. Like if I like cats, you gotta like cats. If I'm Republican, you gotta be Republican. If I hate Trump, you gotta hate Trump, right? If I'm a Protestant, you gotta be a Protestant. We have that too, and everyone wants the match. Now, again, you can have that if you want to. But if you want to find love, why would you make a checklist so tough and then expect not just for your checklist to be so, not just does the woman have to match my checklist, but then I got to match her checklist. So if she's got a checklist of 15 bullet points and I got 15 bullet points, we got to have 30 bullet point matches. Come on. I think you're right. I think social media has made us this way. You're completely right. The standards are just, and I see it all the time. The standards are insanely stupid. In my view, again, you have a right to every standard you want. Good on you. You do you. My opinion is, just my view, the surface stuff is far less important. And I think a lot of people care a lot about the surface stuff. And a list of things. Correct. Yes. So anyway, Kim says, we have big business and big government today because of Reagan. I wish I never voted for him. He did more harm than good. Funny, we're now trying to put back what he destroyed, small town America. It all began in the late 70s, early 80s. You're right. Clinton made it worse. But yeah, it started. I think the actual start was probably, again, Vietnam era. Vietnam era is the beginning. And then it kept going. I agree with you. Yes. And we're trying to fix it. Yes. So, let's see if I can grab some more of these. This is Life says, free Palestine, protect free speech. I'm assuming you mean that we should let people do the protests. I agree with you. Let them protest. Free speech is important. Whether you want to free Palestine or not, I agree. I do not like the lockdowns on free speech at all. Say it. You don't like it? The answer to negative speech or speech you disagree with is more speech every single time. One exception again. If you are directly instigating violence, and it must be directly. And people ask me this all the time. Well, Larry, what is, free speech and what is hate speech? Free hate speech isn't covered as free speech. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. And anyone tells you that does not know what they're talking about. Hate speech is absolutely free speech. And I'm not for it. You don't hear me say it. You don't see me do it. I'm not for it. But it is absolutely free speech. You might say, Larry, where's your line? I'm going to tell you where the line is. Some of you won't like this, but this is where it should be in America for us to have a free and safe America. If I say I don't like a group of people, totally fine. Even if I say that group of people should have no rights, still free speech. Group of people should not exist, still free speech. Group of people are not humans, still free speech. Group of people should be enslaved, still free speech. Group of people should be off this planet forever, still free speech. Hey, Mike, let's go get a group of people. Now we got a problem. Now we have a problem. That's the line I just crossed. That's the line I crossed. You should go hurt, go grab, go something. Take action against group of people. That is where it crosses the line. If you are not directly saying take action for people, it is free speech, even if it's horrible speech that I hate and disagree with. Even if it's horrible speech and speech I disagree with and I can't stand, it is still free speech, period. Unless you are saying take action against a group of people, it is free speech. And I know that sucks, but that is the only way we can save the only way we can save the First Amendment. So even if you say certain country shouldn't exist, that is still free speech. Still is. Certain country is evil. Still free speech. Let's go get people from that country. No. Now we got a problem. We should harm people from that country. That's a problem. Now we have a problem. That's the line. When you start saying action against a group of people or people of a nation, whatever the case may be, that's when you cross the line. Otherwise, it is free speech. So I'm with you. I know people don't like it, but I am very much about First Amendment, like I am very much about Second Amendment. Very important to me. Your feelings when it comes to that are valid. If you don't like it, I get it. If you want to counter it, you should. If you want to ignore it, you should be able to. You want to spend money against it, you should be able to. But you should not be able to stop it unless they're saying, yeah. Phil says, quote, you can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs by many communists. Where the eggs, though? Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's kind of true. That's true. Yes. AC says, I don't even know what the term progressive means anymore. Progressive now is a slur. It's an insult, is what it is. It's an insult, is what it is. It's an insult. That's what it is. I'm teasing, but well, okay. When Mike uses it, it's an insult. Look, when people who lean left say conservative, they're insulting you. When people on the right say progressive, they're insulting you. So yeah, it's an insult. But I think many people are trying to find the answer because Democrats, for those of you who lean left, you'll know this completely. Others of you may not get this. Democrats are always trying to pretend that they're actual leftists. And so how do they do that? They do that by sometimes talking about left issues, not implementing any of them, but sometimes talking about them, and then sometimes taking the name of them. See, I'm a progressive. Oh, you're progressive. Great. Are you voting to support the unions? No, we're going to break the unions up. Okay, wait a minute. That's not, well, no, but I'm progressive. I love unions, but you're voting to break them up. Right. What? Yeah. So so AC, you're correct. It's tough. And the problem is because it keeps moving, you find people on the left have to keep changing the names because Democrats keep grabbing them and go, yeah, no, I'm that thing. Oh, I'm that thing. Progressives used to call Democrats liberals as insults. Now liberals don't call themselves liberals anymore. They call themselves progressive now because they're tired of the insult. So I don't know what you leftist guys going to call Democrats now. You can call them progressives now? I'm not sure. You got to call them something else. You got to find that answer. So yes. Aurora says chemicals in the food are making people infertile. That's why birth rates are falling. Two parts, Aurora. That is partially true, but not 100% true. It's absolutely true that a lot of the chemicals that we're putting in our animals and in our food are pesticides. There's no doubt it's lowering testosterone, it's lowering sperm counts, and it's also making women have more problems with their fertility. That's true. Not the only reason though. The other reason is we're literally having less sex. That's just a physical thing, and less men are having sex. So high quality men, as women decide, are sharing multiple women, particularly in cities. That's not as true in rural areas or as true in suburban areas, but in cities, it's bad in the cities. Like one man will have 3 or 4 girlfriends who know each other, and I'm like, they get it. Guys living with one and knows they're sleeping with 1 or 2 others. It's happening heavily in the cities. Not as much outside the cities, but it's happening heavily. I see it all the time. I know dudes who like literally have live-in girlfriends because they won't marry them because marriage, they think marriage is stupid. And the harsh part is high quality men, again, as decided by women. Women decide how high quality men is. Men don't, right? The women decide if the man is high quality or not. It's in their eyes. If the women decide that the man is a high quality man, he knows it because the women flock to him. So he knows it. That's how he knows a high quality man, because women flock to him. They have decided he's high quality in their eyes. He goes, oh, these women flock to me. I can do what I want, say what I want, and they'll keep flocking to me. Why would I marry one? I can have like 5 of them and not get in trouble and never get sued and never get divorced. Huh. And some of them don't even care if I get them pregnant because they just want a baby. So I'll get them pregnant. I'll pay a little bit for the pregnancy, but that's it. I wish I was joking. And if you're a woman right now dating in a city, you know I'm correct. Put it in the chat if you want to. If you're a woman dating in a city, you may not be part of it, but you see it. Oh, you may be part of it, but you see it. That's happening now. And then the men who aren't high quality, again, as decided by women, they get no action. And they go, I'm out. I'm done. It's happening a lot. So yes. Dave says the Hong Kong agreement sucks. Correct. And will happen again. You are correct. It's crappy and true. Yes, absolutely. Robert says, yes, the American birth rate needs a multivariate analysis. True. There are many who would love to blame progressives for it, but birth rates are down across many different countries. Women aren't happy. Correct. That's what I'm saying, Mike. I'm sure what you're saying is partially true, but it isn't the only thing. There are many other things happening. So yeah, many other things happening. 100%. Adam says the 99-year lease in Hong Kong. I thought it was 100 years. Was it 99? But yeah, it was many of you don't know. The British came over to China and said, we would like to lease Hong Kong. And China says, we don't want to. And British said, see this gun? Oh, yeah. How long? How about like 100 years? Okay, don't shoot us. Don't blow us up. Don't attack us. That's what happened. But to be forward, Adam, the Brits could have fought it in some way, shape, or form. They didn't. And I think they shouldn't have. It was the right thing to do. It was the right thing for the Brits to do to give it back. They should have, and I'm glad they did. So, yes. So, all righty. The AC says, well, thank you for being a member, by the way. Well, and also the Chips and Science Act gave all kinds of funding to do high-tech crap foundries here instead of Taiwan. Of course, Trump is dismantling that. Well, no, he's not paying them. They're not taking advantage of the Chips Act. They're not. They're just coming over. I'm not making that up. They're not, AC. The Taiwanese are coming over, and they're going to say Trump is going to take advantage of it, and good for him. I'm fine. He gets it. It's fine. But the reality of it is they're coming over because they want to be prepared when they sign a deal and they want to have a place to go. You're going to see whenever it's 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you will watch it happen. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If someone wants to bet money on that, I'm happy to bet money on that. I'm that sure that's what's going to happen. I'll bet money if somebody wants to. So I'm that sure that's going to happen. It's absolutely true. So yes. All right. Ryan, thank you for being a member, my friend. Larry for MSNBC chairman. I'm in. Let's do it. Yes. Let's do it. Yes. Yes. All righty. Adam says you should have emailed me. I would have given you feedback. I didn't think I had to, Adam. I gave out 150 copies. I didn't think I had to. I thought it was obvious. Why would I bother? Kaludi says they probably were not ready to receive your message, Larry. Maybe. But it was, look, in the long run, I'm happy it happened that way because my 2022 run was a disaster. The pain and backstabbing that I got through it, is going to make the last chapter even better because I've recovered. One thing I'm very good at, and people who know me know this, is I bounce back well. It's one of my skill sets is I get back up. That's one of my skill sets. And I never forget when I saw this. I remember who said it, but I forgot, it was years ago. It was the woman, Barbara Corcoran, who, for those who don't know, she's been Shark Tank. She's a very successful real estate person here in New York City. So the Corcoran Group, very successful. And she was being interviewed. I feel like it was Larry King back in his 20 years ago. I think it was Larry King. Is saying, you're a great businesswoman or something. She's like, no, I'm not. She's like, what? Well, you're a mogul in, property. She's like, no, I'm not. She's like, what? She said, I'm good at one thing, getting back up. That's what I'm good at. I always get back up. That's what she said. And I was like, grit. That's why she's successful. She doesn't have to be the smartest, doesn't have to be the best. She gets back up. That is my skill set. I get back up. The people who know me well know I've gotten my ass kicked many times. Many times. And even when I was a kid, Mike and I grew up in the Bronx. And we know that there's bullies in the Bronx. And one thing I learned when I was in the Bronx is I wasn't the best fighter. I was not. But if you bullied me, I was going to swing back. I was going to fight. And you might knock me down because I wasn't the best fighter. It's true. I wish I was. I wasn't the best fighter as a kid. I wasn't. But I would fight. And so in the long run, people started saying, the bullies started saying, you know what? I don't want to bully this guy because he might hit me because he's going to swing. There's lots of guys who will never swing. I'm going to go bully that guy because this guy gets back up. I knock him down, he gets back up. I want a guy when I knock down, he doesn't get back up. I want that guy. So I learned that when I was younger, and I still think that now, and I'm still that same way. So I do get back up. So even though 2022 was a terrible year for me, I think it will make me it'll make a better book. That's what I think. There we go. I think it'll make a better book. There we go. All righty. Let me see if I can walk down a couple more of these if I can. Robert says, let's be clear, the way America talks about childbearing at all is largely unappealing. Yeah, I think it's true. A lot of people talk about how much it costs and the fear. I agree. Yeah. Phil says, I don't trust attractive women. If they're good looking and interested in me, they want something. I'll settle for one with a quirky ethnic face and good personality. A good schnoz is hot. I'm going to tell, we're a little bit off topic here, but I'll bring this up because you brought it up. Maybe I keep saying I need to do a show on dating. I think I will. The reality of it is, and this is going to make some women shocked, men don't want 10s. We don't. We want to sleep with 10s. We don't want 10s. It's not a thing. Women think I got to be a 10. Men do not want a 10. If you say you're a 10, we don't like you. That is unattractive. If you honestly believe you're a 10, that is actually unattractive. We will sleep with you and leave you. I'm not joking. That's why the hottest women often don't have men. If you are a 10 as a woman and you believe you're a 10 as a woman, you are unbearable to be with. Why would I want to be with you? I don't mean to be mean, but if you are a 10 as a woman and you know you're a 10, you are unbearable to be around. It's not because I'm intimidated by you. I'm repelled by you. I don't want a 10. Most men would agree with me. We don't want a 10. Phil says it. I'm saying it. I bet every man in this comments is like, I don't want a 10. Happy with an 8 or a 9. Happy with a 6 or a 7. Happy. Looks aren't number one. You need to be good looking enough. If you remember, I never forget this piece. This was a piece from the movie Shallow Hal. Remember that movie with Jack Black and oh my God, a bunch, I forgot other people. Gwyneth Paltrow, I think, was in it, right? And she's a very, very big, heavy woman. And Shallow Hal gets hypnotized into believing she's hot. So he thinks she's hot. And his friend is like, but she's fat and she's terrible. Brad, he's trying to stop her. And at one point, he convinces him and shows him that, oh my God, this woman is really big and heavy, and she's not the hot thing you think she is. And Hal is mad at him. He's like, why are you doing this? He said, why'd you do that? He goes, what do you mean? He tells his friend, he goes, who's your number one, like, perfect woman for you? He said, Wonder Woman. That's what the book in the movie. He goes, Wonder Woman. He goes, if you saw her as Wonder Woman, do you care what I think? He's like, no, I don't care. I got Wonder Woman. Yes, that's what I had. And he's like, oh my God, I screwed you. Yes. And if a man loves a 6, a 7, or an 8 to 10 to him, he doesn't care what the world thinks. Remember something. Think about men and women, how they think about themselves and everything else. Women, as a general rule, want to normalize things. You hear that? Normalize. They are validated by the masses. Men are not. Men are validated by either an individual or a group of individuals who they respect. That's all that matters, right? If I respect Phil and he's a guy I respect, if he says, well done, Larry, that's all I care. I don't care if the rest of the world hates me or loves me. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care. So if I have a woman that I love and I adore, and I think she's wonderful, and I respect Phil, and I say, Phil, what do you think about her? Good woman, man. Good pick. You got her. Good for you. I'm good. The rest of the world can say she's ugly or unattractive or stupid or whatever they want to call her. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me at all. So it's a very different thing. You're absolutely correct. Phil's like most men. Most men do think that way. Women do like 10s, though. Just saying. Women like 10s. And they like bad boys, too. Men want to sleep with 10s. They don't keep them. They don't keep them. They don't. It's the thing. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean. I'm just being forward. I'm just being forward. Phil goes on to say, common beliefs and values is most important. It's important both on the same word. Correct, correct, correct. Andrea says, one thing you won't look over is someone likes pineapple on pizza. Accurate. That is evil. That makes you a 0. Sorry. I'll be your friend. I'll like you, but no dating. Just saying. No dating. Cody says, shallow and surface wants are distractions. Takes work to be authentic. Correct. Yes. Absolutely. That Liberty check, I needed your practical input today. Uh-oh. Did you ask already? I'm happy. Did I answer it? If not, let me know. Yes. So, all righty. Paula goes on to say, I think it started with Johnson. That was my point, Paul. I'm with you. I think it started much more during the Vietnam era. I really do think it's yes. Yes. I do think it started during the Vietnam era. 100%. Yes. So, all right. Her says, free speech as long as it doesn't incite violence. Correct. And I mean directly. Yes. 100%. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Stelline says, I may not like what you have to say, but I'll defend your right to say it. Yes. 100%. The AC says, it's not free speech when you say it about Israel. Well, according to some people. Sadly, you are correct, AC, and I can't stand it. Israel, in my view, gets no, if you want to be mad at Israel, mad at Palestine, mad at Muslims, mad at Jews, you get to be mad at all of them if you want to. No matter what, you get to be mad at all of them. Doesn't matter. You are not allowed to incite violence against them, right? That's the issue. But you can be mad at them all day long. You can say, you don't like Israel, it should go away. It's a bad country, or whatever you think. Yes. Yes. And you can attack the individual leaders, not physically, but verbally. Yes, absolutely. Call them bad names if you want them. Of course. Absolutely. Yes. So Straight Ann says, he's over on Rumble. He says, awesome show, Larry. I'm glad to be here. Tell me again about the Facebook stories. Actually, I think the VA lady will be happy to tell you about that because she was watching them herself. So she can help you out too. But you can just go to Facebook stories and click on those. You'll see them. Yes. So absolutely. All righty. Pickerbell says, we can still call Dems liberals as an insult. Yeah, I think many do. Yeah, I think many still do. Yes. I think many still do. Absolutely. So, let's see here. Celine says, I call myself a classic liberal. I've heard that before. Yeah, I have heard that before. Absolutely. Yes. All righty. Shelly says, I called my friend a Mashugana. He had to look it up. That is good. I like that. That is good. 100%. That's good. All right. The AC says, they call that female hypergamy. And I'm not 100% sure. I believe in theory, but I have some evidence that I'm not blind. I'm not sure how true hypergamy is, to be forward with you. For those of you who don't know what that is, hypergamy is the concept that women always go for men that are better than them. That is the theory. I do think some of them do believe that. How prevalent it is it? I don't know, to be forward. But you definitely can see there are women who think that way. That's true. That's accurate. I don't know how prevalent that is, to be forward with you. But yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do see that. You definitely do see that. 100%. Pigabell says, yeah, I don't want to be married again. Once was enough. I hear that all the time. I hear that all the time. Yes. The AC says, when you're not financially secure, it's harder to deliberately bring a child into this world. Mistakes so happen, though, or mistakes, but definitely unintended. Yeah. This part is really important. I do think that America has failed horribly at creating a world where people feel comfortable bringing kids into the world. And the example I'll give you is there was a minor baby boom in a very specific group of people. And that was during the lockdowns, it was women who were part of the managerial class who were able to work from home. It's true. Within that segment of women, there was a small baby boom. Why? Women were able to work from home, make the same amount of money they made prior to that, and said, wait a minute. If I can feel comfortable in my own home, feel comfortable, I'm not getting fired during this lockdown, I feel comfortable, and I can be home, let's have a baby. This is an example of what I believe to be absolutely true. If you want more children, make women feel more comfortable and confident. And part of that is financial, but part of that's also partners. So it's not only financial. It is financial, of course, but it's also, does a woman feel like she has a partner that she can trust and believe in? If she has that and financial security, yes, you will see a baby boom. And I think that's an example of that. It's true. We've done a very bad job of that in America. And let me bring this piece up now that I think I should probably do a whole show on this. But what America has done very poorly through our worldview after World War II is we've made luxury cheap and necessities expensive. Exactly the opposite. If you go prior to World War II, generally speaking, luxuries were expensive, as they should be, the luxuries, and necessities were cheap. And anyone could buy a house. It was a thing. You could buy a horse if you were into a horse back then. Oh, some people could buy cars, but even then. But luxuries were expensive and necessities were cheap. So everyone could live and you'd buy some luxuries here or there. If you got wealthy, you had a lot of luxuries. Now the reverse happens. So what happens when that happens, AC, is now every single individual expects luxuries. So they spend lots of money on luxuries because they're cheap, relatively, but can't afford a house or a car or whatever. It's the opposite. Now, here's what some of you people in left will be unhappy about. Who controls all necessities? Yes, the government. Every single thing the government controls, you have less access, becomes more expensive, and has worse service. Every single time. Yes, every time. And that's what happened. The government is an attempt to take over and let's take care of housing, controls housing. Oh, okay. Let's take care of education, controls education. Let's take care of the hospitals, more expensive. Everything they've taken over, healthcare, has become more expensive. College was cheap before the Department of Education. Cheap. Like you could go to college for a couple of $100s. I'm not making that up. That's how it was. Government took over, garbage. But that system we've created has done exactly what you're talking about. It has made it to where necessities are expensive and luxuries are cheap. We have to reverse that in our country. You want success? Reverse those, and you'll see things change. That's the key. Yes. The AC said, wow, AC got a lot tonight. AC, you haven't been on for one night. You're doing a lot. I like it. I think you're right on that, Larry, of the rich Taiwanese immigrating here, and I'm okay about the chips and science like not getting enforced. It was mostly a giveaway to rich companies anyway. Correct and correct. All correct. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Phil says anyone who hates Jews has never had lox and bagels. Accurate. Yes, with a smear of cream. I'm not a cream cheese guy, but I do love lox and bagels. They're delicious. It's half of why we know who God's people are. Done. Yes. Bagels are delicious. I don't eat them anymore because I'm, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Mike says, true, it's the only way to deal with bullies. Yeah, Mike knows. We come from the same area. Plus, it leads to being an adult that can handle adversity. Correct. Yes. Correct. Yes. Joel says, high maintenance dollars. Phil says, you're on the money, Joel, or lack of money. Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. Absolutely. Mike says 7 and 8 are the best. Loyal and attractive. Yes. Agreed. See, people agree with me. Yes. People tend to agree with me. Yes. Ryan says, I worked around a hot lady and her person was a total turnoff. Yes. Narcissist City. She drove most of us insane with her night demands, and this was work. Yes. Men don't like 10s. We don't want 10s. We don't want 10s. We want like 7s and 8s and 6s. We're good. Just be nice. Joel says the crazy versus hot matrix scales. Oh, yeah, I've seen that one. That's actually funny. Yes, absolutely. Shelly says the 10s, both male and female, don't develop beyond their looks. That is also true. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's true. John says, if I remember correctly, they have the pineapple on pizza argument in the movie Shallow Hal. I don't remember that, but yes, it's true. Just saying. Yes, it's true. So 100%. All righty. Joel says, hypergamy, that explains my situation. Maybe. Again, I'm not sure. I know that there are definitely women who do fall in that category for sure. I don't know how prevalent it is, to be forward with you. I haven't done enough homework on that to know if that's how prevalent that is. But I do know there are women who fall into that. Absolutely. Yes. Gene says, I went to college in 1979. It cost me $2,500 a year. Yes. There we go. Yes. Andrea says, I would say that I'm a 6, and I'm happy with that. More importantly, my husband is. That is all that matters, Andrea. Well, no, that you and him are happy. That's all that matters. The rest is all secondary. 100%. That's all that matters. And I bet if you say you're a 6, he sees you as far more than a 6. Far more than a 6. I'm sure he does. He'll say it to be nice to you, but I'm telling you, in his heart, he probably sees you 10. And the funny thing is, in the magical world of men, we would love it to where the woman is an 8 who thinks she's a 6. And because that personality is there, we see her now as a 10. And look, if any of you have actually been there, I hope you all have. When you really care about somebody, they always become more attractive. Phil says, thank you, Phil. Yeah, love goggles are real. 100% real. You're 100% true. Yes. So, Andrea, whatever you are physically, he absolutely sees you for more. There's no doubt. He sees you, whatever you are, he sees you for more. So, yes, absolutely. So, the reality of it is, if you two are happy, that's all that matters. That's it. Nothing else matters. That's all. And I want people to be happy. That's all I care about. I don't care if you're with a 10 or 8 or 6 or 3, whatever. Are you happy? Yeah, it's good. That's all that matters. So, yes. Guys, I want to ask one more time if I could click the button known as like. Do that if you would. Please share and repost this. I know I ask all the time. Please do so. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Right? And because I'm not on Twitter tonight, please do me a favor and do that. Yes. So, Straight End says, my German girlfriend heard you talk about 10s. She thinks she's a 10 and calls you an Arschloch. Arschloch, by the way, in German means asshole. I'm not sure what that means, but I think I know. It means asshole. So, yes. Yes. Your German girlfriend should not think she's a 10. A 9's good enough. 9 ist sehr gut. Let her know that. 9 ist sehr gut. 10, nicht sehr gut. Anyway, let her know that. It's true. 9's better. Hopefully she's a 9. So she should not be a 10. If she's a 10, she's going to give you a lot of trouble, Trey Dan. But it's okay. Blame me. I'm the asshole, clearly. It's okay. You're giving me a lot of German lessons today, but I knew a lot of it anyway. Any case, guys, good seeing you all. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock on my radio show. Please do me a favor, if you would. In the chat, just put, after this is over, put in the chat the number of the person who you like the most. Do you like 10s, 8s, 7s, 6s? Doesn't matter. put the number in just surface looks. What would you prefer? I will see you all very soon.